Hey everyone, Kevin here with a Saturday morning, April 25th update on the stimulus checks and stimulus packages. The IRS has been hard at work releasing some very important, critical new information regarding overpayments and repayments and taxation and the next big wave. Oh my gosh, it's overwhelming. So the easiest thing to do is just hop right into it. Folks, first things first, the Wall Street Journal has reported that notifications have been sent out to banks that the second big wave of stimulus payments has been initiated. And so with the Wall Street Journal, I'll link the article so you can take it straight from the Wall Street Journal as well. I'm going to read this quote here. The Wall Street Journal said that payments could follow the pattern that occurred when the government sent the first round of deposits 2 weeks ago. So what they did 2 weeks ago was the government sent a notification to banks on a Friday saying, hey, here, the money's on its way. And a lot of people received their deposits by Wednesday. So the Wall Street Journal says a lot of us should expect our direct deposit by the 29th if we have reported our direct deposit information, if you're so lucky to have been able to get that functioning or non-functioning tool to function for you, or of course you had your direct deposit information on your actual tax return. For that could be your 2018 or your 2019 tax return. Now, interestingly, a lot of folks, the last time this notification went out, actually saw their deposits that Friday. So you might have that deposit pending in your bank account right now. And that's because what a lot of banks were doing to make their customers happy and more loyal to the banks is the banks were saying, okay, we received notification from the government that these stimulus checks are on the way for, these customers. And the banks went ahead and pre-credited a lot of people's bank accounts that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday before the deposits were even there because the banks knew the money was coming. It's kind of like they gave you an upfront courtesy loan for a few days so you didn't have to wait until Wednesday. Kind of cool. But here's some other bits of information directly from the IRS. A question came up. Hey, if I receive this stimulus check, I just want to be really clear and I want to hear from the IRS. Is this going to be taxable? The IRS is now extremely clear about this. No, the stimulus payment is not includable in your gross income. Therefore, you will not include the payment in your taxable income on your federal tax return or pay income tax on your payment. It will not reduce your refund or increase the amount you owe when you file your 2020 taxes, and it will also not affect your eligibility for government programs or assistance. So this brought up the question, well, what if you accidentally received an overpayment, like you received an additional $500 for a child who's now 17 and technically shouldn't qualify for the additional $500? Well, this, by the way, isn't just a banger for people who match that scenario exactly. This is a banger for a lot of people, and we now have it directly from the IRS. No, there is no provision in the law requiring repayment of a payment. When you file next year, you can claim an additional credit on your 2020 tax return if your child was born in 2020, for example, but you won't be required to repay any payment when you file your 2020 tax return, even if your qualifying child turns 17 in 2020 or your adjusted gross income increases above the 2020 thresholds. That right there is huge for a lot of folks. A lot of folks are wondering, oh my gosh, do I need to make sure I make less money in 2020 because I'm worried I'm gonna not qualify for the stimulus check I'm getting or I already got? Am I gonna have to repay this if my income goes up? Like, that sucks. It's gonna be a bill in the future. The IRS has now officially said, no, the law does not require repayment. That is huge right there. Now, interestingly, the IRS also said that if you filed jointly, but you filed the IRS Form 8888, which allows you to get your stimulus deposit into two different bank accounts, or your tax refund deposit into two different bank accounts, the IRS is saying for purposes of stimulus, they're just gonna take the first bank account, which is like totally the opposite of what we heard a few weeks ago when they said you want to make sure that your bank account matches your name, which matches your tax return. And it's unbelievable now, but they are literally taking people who said, yes, please send me my portion and send my spouse their portion. And they're just saying, yeah, we're just going to send the stimulus payments to the first account listed. All right, whatever. Now, in the event that you're still waiting for your tax return to be processed, make sure you download IRS.gov. That is an official IRS app, IRS, the number 2, and then the word go. And that way you can get a status update on the processing of your tax return. Remember, if you filed a paper tax return, it's gonna take 2 to 3 times as long as if you filed electronically. A lot of questions have been coming up regarding the EIDL. Remember, the EIDL is a loan. You are applying for a loan, but in your application for that loan, you can request a free, upfront, non-repayable grant. It's literally free money. So that's why you see loan, and that's why I say grant, because you ask for an advance upfront. You don't have to do anything. After you fill out that application, you don't have to call the SBA, you don't have to talk to a loan officer, you don't have to email them, nothing. You only have to do those things if you actually want the loan. But most people with small businesses, more than half of Americans who have small businesses or side hustles, are eligible to fill out the COVID-19 SBA form, request an upfront advance of $1,000 per employee, which remember, if it's your side hustle, you are one employee, you are one person, which means you get $1,000 as a grant, not a loan. And you don't have to talk to anybody. It's very, very simple. That portal is not yet up, but I do have good news. It appears that the SBA has been hard at work updating their website, which is good because this website used to say notice of lapse in appropriations, and now it says we will provide further information on the availability of the EIDL portal to receive new applications as soon as possible. This is really good because the notice of lapse in appropriations is gone. They're saying, hey, we're working on it. We're gonna provide this information as soon as possible. So this is good. And what's really odd about this is even though the portal's not up yet, that update happened overnight, which means the SBA is actually hard at work overnight here, which is great, but also means we might see this change today or tomorrow or Monday morning. Remember, the last time this changed and the portal became available and it opened up, it was a Sunday at like 1 a.m. Eastern time. That's weird. So remember, what you're doing by filling out that portal when it comes is you're asking for a loan. You're putting in your own information. You're self-certifying your own information, and you're asking for an upfront grant. You can take the grant, not repayable. It gets automatically deposited into your bank account. You just put in your bank account information, and you do not have to repay that. And if they call you, when they finally do, it could be 6 to 10 weeks before they finally reach out to you and say, hey, do you actually want the loan portion? You can say no, and you still keep the grant. Now, the IRS is also doing a plus 500 push, and they have a new deadline of May 5th for Social Security income and VA beneficiaries to act. If you did not file a 2018 or 19 tax return and you have dependents, make sure you go to IRS.gov/EIP. Use the non-filers portal and add your children, add your dependents. You're going to have to add their social security numbers. People need a social security number to qualify. Your children should have a social security number, and then you will get $500. You now have until May 5th to add them to the non-filers portal. Again, the IRS is calling this the plus 500 push. Also, new update, if you have a Direct Express account, it says you may use, this is the IRS directly, you may use the non-filers tool, but you cannot receive your and your children's payment on your Direct Express account. You may only select a bank account for direct deposit or leave bank information blank and receive the money by mail. So if you have children, you need to use that non-filers portal to put your direct deposit information in. You will not receive you and your children's benefit on your Direct Express account. Also, if you are on supplemental security income, remember you're expecting your benefits, your stimulus that is, by May 15th. For veterans, we still don't have a date, but if you're on Social Security or disability, you should receive your stimulus by the end of April. Most of these should be processed by the end of next week, so that's potentially as late as May 1st, but most of us should see our direct deposits and our stimulus payments by May 1st. Again, supplemental security May 15th, and if you're waiting for a check, well, you might be waiting a little bit. So do whatever you can to use IRS.gov/EIP. Look at your IRS 1040, match that banking information perfectly, match your personal information from your tax return to that portal perfectly, and do whatever you can to get into that. The IRS has been updating it, so if you've been having issues with it over the last few days, try it again today. Now, quick note on the PPP. A lot of banks are now sending out letters saying, hey, if you want to cancel your PPP application, that's cool, like you could do that, And they're sending out letters saying, hey, look, here's your application number. Just let us know if you want to cancel it. And it opens up money for other people. So if you decide, you know what, the PPP is not for me, Kevin, I watched your video on the pitfalls of the PPP, I would highly encourage you to cancel your PPP application so that way banks can focus on giving the money to the people who need it right now. Remember, the biggest pitfall is the forgivability clause in the PPP. That is, if you take the PPP money and you do not properly follow the accounting rules for it, you don't rehire people, that money may not be forgivable and it'll be repayable pretty quickly. That amortization period is fast. So watch my video on the pitfalls. But anyway, there's your update for Saturday, April 25th. If you like this kind of update, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Make sure you get your life insurance, get your life in order, get your quote for life insurance, sign up from your phone, takes you less than 5 minutes. Lauren and I have it. It has been the easiest and most cost-effective way to finally get peace of mind. Then get your free 2 stocks with Webull. If you deposit just $100, you get 2 free stocks with Webull valued up to $1,400. And of course, join me in my programs linked below. I have programs on money, everything I know about money and the psychology of money, real estate sales, real estate investing, so you can go from zero to millionaire, and of course, do it yourself, property management, and rental renovations. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time.